Hi everyone, Coach Alexa here. Final video today in my series on what to do with a runner who can't run. So I'm going to be talking a little bit today about the impact on our brains, because I think a lot of us as runners, when we're not able to go out and run, I mean, yes, it impacts the amount of physical activity we're able to do, but we also start to really realise how much of a mental benefit that running gives us. So there's a few different areas why running helps the performance of our brain and our mental health. So it's worth talking through a few of those and seeing basically if you can try and kind of fill the gap that running has left to try and keep ticking those boxes for our brain. The first one is purely getting out the door and being active. So that kind of cardiovascular fitness element where your heart and breathing rate gets up a little bit, you might just get a little bit of a sweat on, is great for our body, as we probably all know, but it's also great for our brain. So that improves the flow of oxygen and nutrients to our brain, improves how much we can kind of think, our cognitive function, so our ability to think, problem solve, deal with more stressful situations. So try and think, if you can't run, are there other things that you can do that will help tick that box? So again, in conversations with your physio, you might still be able to walk or cycle or swim or go on the elliptical trainer in the gym. So any other kind of cardiovascular exercise will really help tick that box. I think the other big aspect that we get a benefit from running is spending time outdoors and also in nature. So when we're outdoors, particularly when we've got a little bit of greenery that we can see, so it might be running down a tree-lined road or through a park or out on the trails even, we do get a huge amount of mental stress relieving benefits from being out in nature. So again, try and get that in your day sometimes. That might be a cup of tea, spending 5 or 10 minutes drinking it in the garden every morning to take in the sights and sounds of the birds and the wildlife and the trees and the plants. Or it might be going for a walk or a bike ride, on a route round a park or on some trails where you can really take in nature. I think another big thing that we all find as runners is that our runs are often our me time. It's time away from the pressures and demands of family, of work, of our phones. So again, it's something to think about trying to replicate in your day to replace that potentially kind of missing aspect when we can't go out for a run. I personally find walking is brilliant for that. Just getting outside, putting my phone on silent and just spending a little bit of time pondering in my own little world, and being outdoors in nature as well, so you get a bit of a double whammy there. The other final thing that I touched on a little bit in my previous video is connection with others. So this can really still help, particularly if we're struggling a little bit because we're injured or we can't run for any other reason. Stay connected to other people. Running is quite a kind of social sport, or it can be when you want it to be. So park runs, running clubs, online running communities. So stay connected to them, stay connected to friends and family, because it can be a little bit of a tough time physically and mentally when we're not able to do the sport that we love. So talk to people about it, keep catching up with people and checking in. The other thing that people sometimes worry about when they're not able to run for whatever reason is that you kind of might lose the habit, and then it's more difficult to create a habit again than it is to just maintain that routine, isn't it? So again, we can use other activities like I've been sort of suggesting today in the same kind of pattern that you would have done your running in to maintain that habit, so that when you are able to run again, you just swap out the run back in compared to what you were doing before. So I might, start doing running instead of walking or cycling, for example. It can be a great way of maintaining that habit and make it a lot easier when you get back into running again to just kind of click back into that routine. A couple of people that I talked to and that commented on previous videos were worried about weight gain because their activity levels are dropping, and actually the science around sort of weight and activity is not that clear cut. It's not as simple as calories in, calories out, and our weight naturally fluctuates day to day, week to week by quite a bit. So don't be worried too much about that. Focus on maintaining that cardiovascular health, the aspects of running that give you the mental benefits that I've talked about today, and also going back a couple of videos, focus on some things that are really going to help your return to running. So that might be doing some strength training, some Pilates or yoga to really help your running going forwards. And if you're keeping on top of all of those, then you're doing a great job of keeping yourself both physically and mentally fit. I I hope that's helpful.